Well, thank you for tuning in today to another episode of Prison Bosses. In today's episode, I'm really excited. We have someone here who's very much accomplished. A lot of times I like to think of myself as being accomplished, but I had to give her flowers before we got on. I said, as I was doing my research, I was like, wow. So I know today you're going to be in for a treat. You're going to be provided with a lot of jewels and insights. And with that being said, I would like to introduce Lucinda Cross, the president of Activate Worldwide and Activate Your Life. You might have seen Lucinda on NBC's Today Show. She's been featured in CNN, Essence Magazines, Black Enterprise, New York Times, The Ink, and Forbes Next 1000. And that's kind of where we were introduced to each other. That's where some of our parallels first came in alignment, as I was also featured in that. And then I also found myself incarcerated for drugs at the age of 19, as we'll talk about a little bit more. But here we are today, two successful business people who have experienced incarceration. And so, with that being said, Lucinda, welcome to the show.
Listen, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. To your flowers, you got to get flowers too. Guys get flowers too. You got to get some
I appreciate that. Well, um, as everyone know who's listening, the premise of our show is about incarceration to them becoming a boss. And so we like to live in that space of post incarceration more than anything. But it's important that you get a little bit of the backstory. So I want to toss the baton over to you, give you 5-10 minutes. Tell us a little about your upbringing, where you're from, and who you were that landed you in jail at the age of 19.
Oh, so I'm from the Bronx, New York, and put me
Yes,
down.
that's
Okay.
right.
Raised had a wonderful family. The oldest of three. I mean, oldest of four. I'm the only girl. Three boys,
Mm,
three brothers
mm,
younger than me, and watched my mother be. Although we had the family structure, mom and dad, just watched her be the dominant person in the household and really living like a single mom wife, so to
mm,
speak. And a lot of the pressure of doing the pickup was on me. The
mm,
responsibility of watching, caring, cleaning, cooking. So I was like second mom in the house. And, there was a lot going on within the household, but I just kind of watched her moves and just living in the projects and Gun Hill
mm.
projects. Just the
Gun
whole,
Hill.
we didn't realize we were poor. Everybody else was doing the same thing we're doing. You got the
Yep,
same color food stamps as I have.
that's right.
You wearing that jacket because you go to a different high school. If not, can I borrow it? So that's the life.
That's
And
right.
we didn't see any, and it's no excuse, but we didn't see role models. We didn't see people come in and say, oh, so and so's
Mhm,
a doctor, so and so went to college, so and so. So that wasn't it. My idols at that time was the girls who were with the drug dealer boyfriends. And
mm,
more so me, I'm looking at the drug dealers who's driving by, and I'm like, man, I want to be one day the person doing the turkeys and
yep.
hosting the basketball games. Not so much, walking around in the miniskirts. I want to be the one that's Christmas drive, that's on me,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I did go to college because my mother's big on education.
Mhm,
And I went to college to be an entertainment attorney, entertainment law, and
mm,
just got mixed up with what I called an opportunity to go travel and transport in
mm,
suitcases.
mm,
And it without them even catching me, thank God, by the grace of God, in any of those foreign countries, I didn't realize I was a part of a whole conspiracy
mm.
that was under investigation for 3 or 4 years before I even stepped on the scene. So I
Wow.
did get to live out that naive dream of,
Mhm,
hey, let me support the community now. Sneakers is on me, and this is on
mhm.
me. I did get to live that hood celebrity life, but months later,
Caught
I
up.
end up dropping out of college, and the feds is knocking on my door, and my mother's like,
Mm,
"You should be bringing your brothers to school," and I'm like, "I know, I don't know what's going on here," and
mm,
that was it. That just
mm.
took me straight into Chicago, where the case was at, and for
So what was
19.
your actual charges and how much time did you get?
So my charge was conspiracy. I forgot what it was called that back then. It's conspiracy with intent to distribute.
Yep. Yep.
Heroin, and it was a whole telephone conspiracy. So they heard the
Mm,
people saying my name. Oh,
mm,
Lucinda, Lucy's getting on the plane. Lucy picked up the bag. Lucy dropped off the bag.
mm,
Lucy's in Mexico. So it was like,
mm.
and so they're following me. I didn't know they were following me. They're following me. They couldn't catch anything. Like I said, it was only by the grace of God for my dumb butt. They say he covers babies and fools, right? So
That's right. That's
I fall under both at that time.
right.
But I served, the judge wanted to give 10 years, first time offense,
Oof,
nonviolent, never been in any
oof,
trouble before, ever, ever.
mm.
And I end up serving 4, and I did 5 on probation. And
Gotcha.
then
All
got
right. So
supervised release and got off from the 5 to did like 3.
gotcha, gotcha. Well, that's,
Mhm.
I mean, man, that's a lot to unpack there. Some similarities. So I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up in Tracy Towers, right off of Mashilla
Okay,
Drive. So very
okay.
familiar with Gun Hill. Then
You thought I
also,
was rich. You were like, they got houses?
they,
What?
they, that's what they doing over there. And, and then I got caught up at 19. Same sort of stuff, ambitions. Like we say a lot of times in our communities, the hood celebrity is the drug dealer, and right or wrong, they try to do good. You want to be a part of some of the good that's happening, but I think the ignorance, we think we could get away with it, we'll never get caught. I remember my mom specifically telling me there's people who are working 10 hours a day to catch you, and all it takes you to slip up is one time. And that never left me. That was after the nearly the second bid, but that's another story for another day.
Whoa,
But
whoa. Didn't get enough with the first one? You didn't get enough with the first
you know how it is. You come back home, and you fall right back into those cycles, and so
one? Yeah.
that's why I know how easy it is to get caught up in that.
Yes.
But with that being said, that's a great kind of segue. So how did you avoid getting caught into that trap of the cycle upon release?
If I'm to be honest, I kind of sort of almost did get caught up into the cycle.
See, it's too easy. It's too
Not
easy.
not in the same thing. It's my thing with the system, and that's why I don't think incarceration is for everyone. I think we
Hmm.
needed a
Hmm.
level of reform, a level of a different type of, especially when you're dealing with that young age.
Hmm.
You either become a better citizen or a better criminal.
Talk about it. Talk
The
about it.
conversations in there. So if you have someone who's in there, and I mean, so if for me, just being around the conversation, it's not better just sitting in a halfway house for 8 9 months. You don't think there's conversations being had in there about
Right.
what's,
I
you
learned
don't
how
think.
to I learned how to re-rock, just all of the stuff you're not supposed to know how to do just from being around being around other criminals. And then when I came home, it was like, oh, what? So we on.
It's like, and so for me, it was just being around those conversations, and it was like, okay, first of all, I can't get a job.
Hmm. Yep.
You're telling me you're
Yep.
not going to pay for my school. Um, Now you're telling me I'm nothing, and I'm probably going to
Hmm.
go back to jail. So it's
Hmm.
just now you're monitoring me like a baby,
That's right.
and so it was just, and I got to do these piss tests. I never had a drug issue before, so it was just a lot of down, 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 and not enough uplifting and guiding, no planning, no strategy to make this person better. So it's, yeah, I made this mistake. Now you lock me up with the rest of the people who are even smarter than me,
Hmm.
right? And now I got to learn different survival skills,
That's right.
and then you put me back into this free world, and I have
Mm,
to learn to survive with people who are acting like they incarcerated. The free world people were acting more locked up than the people I was with,
that's a fact. That is a
and they
fact.
don't want
That
to
is a
help you.
fact.
So it's like, why are you clutching your bag? I didn't go there for robbery.
Mm,
You
mm.
if I my background, you like, oh well, I don't think this that wasn't my issue. You don't got to
That's a
turn your
fact.
look behind your back for me. I'm
That's right.
if that's not a suitcase of heroin, I'm not interested. So
Now you're right. I mean, uh I remember, it's hard to get a job, but I remember I had worked my way up to a operations manager at Marriott, but I
mhm,
really wanted to be the GM, so I just quit. And in my
Mhm.
mind, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be easy to get another job. I got some work history now. But
Mhm.
everyone kept telling me no because I didn't have sales experience. And so to your point, I could go in these interviews and say I do have sales experience. I used to sell drugs, and I was all right at it
Oh,
until I
I
got
got
caught,
sales
obviously,
experience.
you know, but it doesn't translate the same. So they were marking us off. So what was your like first career opportunity upon release?
So working in a hospital, I was working in risk management and performance improvement.
Mm,
And then I went into patient relations. So just hearing people's complaints and trying to find a solution for it. So I started working in a hospital. Yeah. And with that, the only way I was able to get that is honestly I had to well, the first one I worked in a call center in
mm,
Queens. That was
mm-hmm,
hookup.
mm-hmm.
And then from there, then I really settled into the healthcare industry, and that worked for me.
Now, did the healthcare being in that industry, did that help you to do you see how that might have helped you today in your business, or did that play any effect of you pivoting and doing your own thing?
Yes, it did. So from being in performance improvement, risk management, you hear all the issues that are coming from patients and
Mhm.
what doctors are doing wrong and what's not
Yep.
happening right, policies, procedures. So I learned skill sets in terms of just communicating,
Mm,
uh, having plans written down, making sure everyone is aware of what next steps are, what that looks like, how to put out fires, how not to lose
mm,
just your
mm.
control and yourself
Yep.
when you're trying to get things, partnerships, how to make partnerships with the
Yes,
community.
that's
So
key.
I learned a lot of stuff, but most importantly, it helped me to pay for college. I went back to school again, and it gave me
Mm,
structure. Here's where you are.
mm.
This is what this looks like, and here's your assignment. So it helped me with my leadership skills.
I
Definitely.
agree. I agree. I mean, I try to encourage people now. Like, I wouldn't be the leader I am today if it wasn't for me climbing that corporate ladder and really identifying how to be a good leader. Things that I had managers that I said I would never do what they did. Other stuff that I said I got to do what they did. I appreciate what they did, and
Yep.
then put that all in a pot and kind of developed me into who I am today. And so I don't think you could be a good chief if you were never a good Indian. And I
Yes.
think being I think we all have to in business, if we don't come from it, and naturally a lot of times we don't come from that, then we have to learn it. And I think the corporate world is the perfect place to learn it. And then you go and do your own thing from there. So how
Mhm.
long was it before you started your own business following going back to college?
I would say probably 4 years.
Gotcha.
Before you saying how long I stayed at the corporate job?
Yeah, how long you stay at the corporate job?
Yeah, I stayed at the corporate job for 4 years.
Mm,
Then I went part time and took on another opportunity. And this is the good thing when you're doing good and you're doing what you're supposed to do, people are watching. And when it's
right,
time and you make relationships outside of just, I wasn't the type that, yes, boss, like I'm trying to brown nose. I'm making connections with other supervisors and
right,
other key leaders there. Even down to the janitors. I didn't look down on
right,
anyone. And
right.
so just talking to someone who worked in the kitchen, who I found out later on, years later, also was formerly incarcerated,
Mm,
having conversations with him, he was connected with someone who had a nonprofit that they connected with the hospital. And he said, you know what, Lucinda, I'm gonna connect you with so and so. She was a top dog. He's
mm,
the kitchen guy, but he's the
mm.
guy who walked past every day to say why this is not the way I want it, or
Yes.
you don't have any more, how long I have to wait. And I'm the person having a conversation about his dreams. What's
And
going on?
mm,
And he put me right in position to now work part-time where I worked with at-risk youth. And that's when it just really
mm.
started clicking in it.
Mm. Now, I heard a couple of things. I hope the listeners picked up on that. One thing I heard was treat everyone the same. It don't matter if you're the CEO or if you're dealing with the janitor, and everyone in between, treat them with the same level of respect. And I think that's huge and something that we learn in prison, because in prison, respect is a life or death thing. And every single day you got to give everyone the utmost respect, or it definitely could go down. And then also networking. Like we talked about how you can network in those facilities and be more of a criminal, or that same vein you could come home and start to network and and through your network will create more opportunities for you. So I think that was fire. And so let's talk a little bit about, because it makes sense why that would be your thing once you got around troubled youth, being that you found yourself in trouble as a youth. And so how did that transition into the business you have today?
So once I started working with troubled youth, I started networking once again inside of the organization, and I seen that the youth were not responding to the women because, of course, they didn't look like them.
Mm,
They didn't understand their issues. So the
yep.
school that they were in was right across the street from Edenwald Projects, and so it's like you're not going to get the reason why she doesn't want to go home. She just told you that her mother is on drugs. She told you there's no food in the house.
Yep.
So that's why she's sleeping. That's why she's coming in, and so
Yep.
that's why she's not here early.
Yes.
You don't know what she has to, you don't know who she's taking care of, little kids. So once I seen there was a disconnect, and I started to really connect with the youth there, that's when I said, I need to get a mentor for myself because I need
Mm,
somebody to help guide me into how do I open up this business and run it. Because I was still doing all the things. Like on the
yep.
side, I was great at writing. So once again, while I was at the hospital, I was going to college, and my professor was like, hey, you really good at writing business plans and stuff like that. And he said, so he had me writing a few business plans for some people. That was putting extra
Mm,
money in my pocket. So I'm writing business
mm.
plans, writing marketing plans, things like that. And I was getting paid for it,
That's
networking.
right.
Then
That's
now
right.
I'm inside the school, and I said, dang, I really need, and my professor said, you got to find a mentor.
Mm,
Was looking for a mentor now because I was in this, and I actively sought out to find one. And when I found him and I told him what I was doing on the side and what I told him my passion was and where I'm at work, and I said I don't want to be here as much longer,
hmm.
but I want to start my own thing for moms who's in transition, because at this time now I became a mom, and also just
Mm.
working with youth. And so he guided me. He guided me.
Now you said a lot of great, yo. You just dropping a lot of jewels. I ain't gonna hold you, and I hope everyone's picking them up. One thing I wrote down: forever learner. You talked about how while you were in school, you were still learning other things to help you. I talk about the importance of that all the time, and that's also a part of my journey as well. When I got into the hotels, it was entry level, cleaning toilets. I had to learn how to do everything from the front desk to being a manager to doing housekeeping to being the ops manager. So forever learning for all of you guys out there. Don't stop learning. Don't think it just happens in the classroom, especially in today's age. You have the YouTubes, you have Audible. Like, just figure out your learning habit and then go learn as much as you possibly can.
Mm,
Also, the hustle don't stop. I hear you say how you still working, but on the side, you figured out, oh, I could write these business plans and I could bring in some extra money. And same for me. While I was in the hotels that day, by night I was throwing parties. I was a party promoter,
how
and
sweet.
so I just see so many parallels in our stories. And I think if you're a true hustler, it really doesn't stop, like, at all. You're always gonna figure it out, and even when things seem hard, just have to have the faith in yourself to know that I figured it out before. I'm gonna figure it out again.
Mhm.
And then the last thing, and one of the biggies to me, was the mentorship. And I can't even talk to the value of mentorship. I'm a firm believer that in all aspects of your life, you should have some level of mentorship. I don't care if it's a relationship mentor, a business mentor, but you should be able to identify people that you can learn from them.
Mhm.
Because what do they say? A smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from others' mistakes,
Mhm.
and an idiot never learns from any of the mistakes. So we
Mhm.
all get to choose which one of those three we want to be. And for me, I rather learn from others' mistakes so I can better quickly navigate situations. And so,
Mhm.
um, now to this day, do you still have mentors, and do you have like a business coach?
So to this day, so now my business coach has become my friend.
Talk about it. Yes, indeed.
I still have my mentors, both of them, and so it's not as hands on as it used to be. It's just
Right.
they're there if I need them, and I just got to tap in. So that's just good to know because I don't want to abuse their time. That's
That's
the
right.
other thing, you know.
That's
So
right.
yeah.
So, how do you find a mentor? Like, for someone who's saying they want to find a mentor, what would your advice be on how to find a mentor?
I would say there's tons of mentorship programs, and it depends on where you want to go into. So, like for business, if you're looking for a business mentor and you're really not in a position to pay, I mean, thank God I didn't have to pay my mentor. I had to just
Agreed.
do
Agreed.
work. I had to do the
Hmm.
work. He was like,
Yep.
"Listen, I don't play games.
Yep.
Just do the work." But
Yep.
there's organizations that help you find mentors. Like if you're in New York, Start Small, Think Big. They help you
Mm.
find a mentor. The SBA, you can find mentors there.
All right. That's right.
Verizon now has mentors, free mentors that you can speak to someone one on one. So the
Mm.
good thing now with what happened with the pandemic, it opened up all of these companies, these big companies, Goldman
Yep.
Sachs, and
Yep.
they
Yep.
have to do a level of free mentorship. And these mentors are top notch. So it's just about tapping in
Yep.
and hey, that's Goldman Sachs mentors. Whatever field you want to get into, media. I'm looking for mentors in media. You may find someone who works at a BET or a Time
Right.
or
That's right.
who's willing to donate some time to you.
I agree. One thing for me is I tell people shoot their shot.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough, fortunate enough, I'll say that I've been able to find mentors even just utilizing social media. And there was this gentleman, he operates $1 billion company out of Syracuse, New York. And I reached out to him early and said, your lifestyle and what you do in business, that's what I want to do. And I would love
Mhm.
for you to be a mentor. Now, naturally, like you said, mentors don't have a lot of time. These are successful people. And so he hit me back with the skirt, like, nah, I don't got enough time. But he
Mhm.
said, here's my email and just reach out. So I guess he didn't know, in my mind, you're my mentor now because you
Yeah,
just gave
it's
you gave me the green light. You know what I mean? And so to this day, I'll still send him messages, email him. He'll get back to me. It might not be the same day, it might even be a week later. But when he does get back to me, he gives me the time I need, the advice I need. And so I tell people, shoot your shots. The same way y'all slide in people's DMs, slide in that mentor's DM and shoot that
that's
shot.
that's right. That's right. That's right. That's
so,
right.
so now let's talk about your business and what do you do? Tell the people what you do, what your business is all about and how you're being impactful.
So the for-profit with Activate Worldwide helps with marketing and brand messages. So just helping people identify what's that story that's inside of you and how do we tell that story in a way that connects you with other companies and brands,
Hmm.
and you could start creating products. Maybe you have a book inside of you, maybe you have a clothing line, maybe you have a
Mm,
nonprofit. So my whole thing is just taking the message. So if you have a story, I want to turn it into a megaphone. I want to
mm,
turn it into an enterprise. But let's look at what that story is and then get the wheels turning on it. So that's what I do. Help you find your signature sauce, your signature message,
signature sauce. I love
and
it.
market it. Yeah.
And
And
now
then
I seen on the Today Show you did a lot. Well, you keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, just and then the nonprofit works with reentry, women reentry for at-risk youth, and going in and just helping to train them to understand the importance of entrepreneurship and just
Yeah,
life skills. People don't
yeah.
realize you come home or you're inside, you don't
Hmm.
have these life skills that you need to maneuver around,
That's right.
to have better relationships or to the confidence that you need to go for a job.
That's
So
right.
we help identify and do some of that real deep work too, to say, wait,
Mm,
is it your pride or ego?
mm,
So
mm.
let's want to change you from the corner to the corner office, so
Talk
let's
that.
how do we work that? We got to shift their mindset. So it's a lot of mindset work.
I love it. So now for individuals who might not know, what's the difference between a for-profit and a not for profit?
Um, it's just one is more geared towards a give back, right? Nonprofit, I say, is connected towards a give back. It doesn't mean that you're broke and you don't get nothing for profit, because nonprofits are getting a lot of money. It's just
Talk about it.
how they use it, how they use the
Hmm.
funding. So
Hmm.
now other companies who are making the top $1 billion can now say, for other reasons, I've given, I've sponsored, I donated to
That's
this
right.
nonprofit for their cause. Where for my for profit, it's feast or famine. I got to go out there and hunt,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and I'm an entity, and I'm responsible for taxes on how
That's
much
right.
money I make, and employees and things like that. So it's two different entities in one, where one I have the responsibility, which is kind of more on me, but still on the company,
Hmm.
and the other one is on community outreach and support. And this is where I can get donations in,
Yep.
where my company, I can't get donations and of socks and
You know that.
deodorant and underwear. They're like, "What are you doing? You trying to
Right.
resell it
Right.
versus my nonprofit?" I was like, "No, I'm trying to bring this to the Bronx. I'm trying to bring it."
Right. I love it. And no, and so for those who don't know, like nonprofits are that's essentially, you see a lot of nonprofits in the I mean, you see them everywhere, but to your point, the nonprofits a lot of times for larger organizations and for organizations, they also are beneficial because it's a tax write-off for your for-profit side. So you're able to write things off, but then also you are able to go after those scholarships, those that kind of donations, and because people will not donate to, they rarely will donate to a for profit. Like it's like pulling teeth. And so so I appreciate that. And I know it's a lot of work for those out there listening. It's a lot of work either way, for profit or non for profit. But if you do take the non for profit route, you have to build a board. And so just be mindful that when you first start, you can have a minimum of up to 3 people, including yourself. My suggestion is keep it small at first, so you could keep the vision, you could build the foundation, and then from there add on more people who could be key members to your board, who could be active members and who actually show up and put the work in, and not just people who just show up just to show up. Would you agree?
I agree totally,
Gotcha,
totally.
gotcha. So now I believe success leaves clues. There's no blueprint on how to be successful, although there's a million books on how to be successful. But I believe that there's a lot of core principles, like a lot of the same things you find in successful people. And one
Mhm,
thing that I find in a lot of successful people are their routines. Do you mind
mhm.
talking about like what's your daily routine look like? How are you able to maintain these 2 businesses and do all the things you do?
One you is first of all is prayer. You have
Mm,
to find a way to
mm,
stay grounded so you don't go crazy, right? Because
that's right.
entrepreneurship will drive you nuts sometimes.
Yep.
Because it pulls at so many levels of you, mentally, emotionally, physically at times. So just
Agree.
starting off with prayer is my routine. I get up 5:30 just for prayer. From 5:30 to 6, I'm in prayer. And then
Mm-hmm.
from 6 now it's time for getting, my son off to school. And so I really set the beginning of the day for me to get grounded and my household to get grounded.
Yes.
And then I
Yes.
go into checking with my team. So it's good to have someone who's also willing to, who believes in the vision and having that team
Mhm,
person, whether it's a virtual assistant, an intern, someone
mhm,
who's willing to do some of the work without having the ego or watching,
mm,
oh well, look how
mm.
much she's making and look at these emails.
Yes,
So having a
yes,
trusted team member, even if it's just one person, to help you navigate some of the admin stuff, to kind of tell you, you need someone to kind of tell you what to do
that's a fact.
and where to go. And so I would say that team member is a huge part of my routine.
Yep.
And then also looking at what works and doesn't work. I
Mm,
take
mm,
inventory on,
mm.
every week. I'm like, what worked this week and what didn't work? What could I
Yep.
have done more of or less of? Or maybe I just needed to rest and it's
Mm,
okay. Or maybe I needed to grind more. If I
mm.
notice it's a goal, don't stop until you reach it.
That's right.
And so I
No,
have a vision board and I constantly am looking at my vision board and I'm like,
oh,
you got work to do.
we got work to do. Now we're definitely gonna talk about the vision boards because that's what I saw in the Today Show. Just one thing about the routine. I think another thing I see is a lot of and not everyone, because everyone's day looks different. I know someone who's super successful in his own right, and he wakes up around noon. But it's because he stays up all night doing other stuff, preparing them for his days and stuff. So, but I find that a lot of people who just have successful routines and who are successful people wake up before the sun gets up. I'm up by 4:45. I'm just like you. I'm praying. That's how I'm starting my day. Give me a good 15 minutes of prayer and meditation. I'm out of the house by
Mhm,
5:15 to 5:30. I'm in the gym. And then after the
mhm,
gym, I'm in the office. I'm working before 7:30. I could honestly say I probably got more accomplished than the average person by 9 o'clock every single day.
yep,
And then the day is gonna be the day. But
yep,
then 5 o'clock, I draw my line in the sand, and everyone knows I'm willing to pour into y'all from 5 in the morning until 5 at night. But at 5 o'clock, that's when I need to be able to tap out and be a father, be a husband, be a son, and be everything I need to be to my family.
mhm,
Um, and that's also my recharge. I need to be able to do that decompress the day, and then one thing you said, reflection. Look back at to what worked, take inventory, what didn't work, what do we need to change. But I think having that routine helps
Mhm.
people be able to get through the ups and downs, because I think through entrepreneurship, one thing you learn is definitely ups and downs, and it's the person who stays even killed through the whole way who tends to be the winner. And
Yeah,
so I definitely appreciate your insights on that. But now let's pivot. Let's talk those vision boards, because I seen on the Today Show that you made mention of the vision boards. I think they might even say you had a few different vision boards. Like, and so can you speak to the power of the vision boards, how you started doing that, and the teachings you do around the vision boards?
absolutely. It's something my mother taught me before I got arrested. She was a double psychology
Mm,
teacher. And when I got out
mm,
of prison, I mean, you don't necessarily have the scissors and tape and stuff like that, but I was using the toothpaste. It's glue.
hey,
If you know, you know.
that was glue. That was definitely glue.
And I was using what I had at the time to create my vision journal. So when I got out, and so for me, that's when it started really.
Mm,
And I use them. I have a business board.
whew,
What I do is, God bless you. What I do is I
thank you.
put, what my goals are for the year, and then they change. They may change. I don't
Right.
like kind of
That's
stick to
right.
them. They change. So I may say, you know what, this is where I desired to go 3 months ago, but now this is I'm pivoting. But I
Right.
need to see something. I'm a visual learner. I
Mm,
need to see, I'm not a person that has to have it here on Pinterest on my phone. I
yep.
need to see it tangible, to touch it, to say, okay, this is what this looks like. Even if I'm just writing it down on a whiteboard.
Yes.
I believe everything starts with a blueprint,
Mm,
aka vision board. The chairs
mm,
we're sitting in,
couldn't
that
agree
started
more.
with someone's vision board, aka blueprint. How many legs they wanted the chair to, how is the cushion thick? So
That's
for
right.
me, it works.
That's
It
right.
worked for my understanding my relationship, my family. I have a family board, relationship board,
Mm,
my
mm,
personal board, and a business board.
mm,
And as a family, we sit down. What is the goals? Okay, this one is graduating. What does that look like for you? Where do you want to
yes.
go? Okay, let's put Hampton up. That's where she wanted to go. She want to go to HBCU. Where's my daughter at? At a HBCU in Hampton. My son,
Hey,
he wanted to get into entrepreneurship. And, so we, as a family, we had to understand what was the goal for the family,
that
so
is
that we
true.
hold each other accountable. Hey, you
Mm-hmm.
can't be messing up. You still
Mm-hmm.
have that vision, we gotta let's tighten up, and
That's
so, and
right.
they also need to understand mommy as well. So they're not feeling neglected. They understand, all right, mommy's bored. She has her own desires and aspirations as well.
Mm,
So I don't lose myself in the midst of parenting and being a mom and being a woman and being, all the things.
that's
What
right.
about the things that I like as well? So
No, that's
I live,
powerful. I mean, Oprah talked about it years ago, the importance of a vision board, and here you are. I even seen while I was watching the clip, I think you even had the NBC logo on your vision
yeah.
board, and then it was like, "Yo, look at me! Look, here I am on NBC today."
Yep,
Like, so just speaks to the power of it. And I believe in vision boards. I believe in manifestation of what you want.
yep.
I believe you can achieve all your goals. The key is not just seeing it, but you have to every single day be actively working towards whatever it is. But I agree with you. I think being able to see it is key. I actually keep my goals list right next to the side of my bed. So that way
Mhm.
I see it every single morning when I'm getting up. And now that the seasons are changing, it's dark when I get up, so I don't really get to see it in the morning right now. But and then I always see it at night before I go to bed. And but that keeps it front of mind for me. And so I know every single day what I'm supposed to be working towards.
Mm,
And to your point, we do the same with the family. I make the kids do it. We do it at the beginning of the school year. What's going to be the vision, and then to your point, that's how we're able to hold each other accountable. You said you were going to do this. Is this in alignment with you getting to your end goal? Because if not, why are you doing it? And
that's right.
so I think is a simple process. I think everyone should make some time to actually. Could you? Well, you already talked about it. I mean, you told him, oh, you need a scissors, some pictures, and some
Pictures,
glue. That's it.
words, affirmations.
That's
You can
right.
even, like you said, even if it's just a goals list. What's
Mm-hmm.
the vision? Just
Mm-hmm.
write the vision, make it plain, right? That's what the word says. So
That's
all you need,
right.
get some
Mm,
scissors, get yourself some magazines or some words, print some words out. That you could cut up just to feed yourself, depending on the space that you're in.
that's right.
And, put them up on the board, put them up on your wall, in your
Yep.
closet, in
Yep.
the little corner in your bathroom, to say, I'm great. I deserve a new car. I'm debt free.
Mm,
I'm healthy.
mm, mm.
I'm rich.
I need
I'm
that debt free
loved.
one.
I'm married. Right. And so my credit score is high. Put that 800 up there
Hmm.
on your wall, so it reminds you to work towards that. So yeah.
Mm. That's powerful. It's powerful. And I believe if you see it, if you really want it, you could go get it. I think me and you are testament to that. I mean,
Yeah.
neither one of us was born with a silver spoon. We both Bronx babies that ended up in prison, one in Chicago, one upstate New York. But at the end of the day, we did our time, and now look at us today being able to give back. And so two last questions I have for you. One is what advice would you give your younger self? That 18-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself today?
Just to have patience. I
Mm,
had no patience. It's have patience and trust the process.
trust the
Have
process.
patience and trust the process. I
Mm,
had no patience. I want it now.
yep,
I didn't really want to listen to anybody. No one
yep,
knows what I'm going through. No one is smarter than me. Um, and I didn't believe in the process. I didn't, who knows where I could have been at this point. I mean, I love my life now, but we have so many different paths, and
yep.
I took one path the long way, I believe.
Mm, mm,
I took the long
mm,
road.
yep, yep,
I took
yep.
this. I said, sign me up for the struggle. Yep, I got it, because I don't want to listen to anybody. I
Give it
want
to
to
me the hard way. That's
give it to
right.
me the hard way. Thanks for the easy route. That was nice, but yeah, I mean, and I don't,
Yep,
I don't say that it was horrible, but I didn't have to go through what I went
correct,
through if I had
correct.
patience.
I agree. I agree. And I love the other thing you said too, because I agree with the patience. I also agree that 19-year-old, 18, 17-year-olds who might be listening in, just understand that there's people that's been there before you that's done it. And so when we try to give you advice and tell you things, we're not trying to be your parent. We're not trying to tell you what you need to do. What we're just trying to do is guide you. We're trying to be that little resource, that mentor that we talked about that can help you so you can avoid some of the pitfalls that we've experienced ourselves because we've been your age before. And so no, I couldn't agree more with that. And then I guess the last question I have for you is, tell us what's next. What's next in store? Where do you see yourself going? What's your mission? Like what is what when it's all said and done? What are you going to be remembered for? And yeah, what's next?
So what's next for me? The goal is to work on. I'm working on this project for. It's a media platform. I believe in having a platform where voices can be heard. I don't think that
Mm,
women constantly need to be seen in the light of fighting and throwing tables and
mm,
not
I
respecting
agree.
one another and
I
and
agree.
and talking about each other, and
Yep.
that's what media thrives off of. But I believe
Yep.
there's out of 7 billion people in this world, there's at least
Mm,
another portion that would be interested in seeing highlights of women who are positive, who have gone through things, and we're not at each other's necks.
that's right.
And the drama is the world, not us.
Mm,
So
mm,
so that's the goal, and I'm just waiting for a yes. And I believe it's coming, but that's
mm.
what I want to be known for, is that she imprinted in this world a positive media outlet for women, so that they can be who they are and love one another without the drama.
I love it. It's needed. I mean,
Hmm.
we know Mona Scott done got rich off of the ratchetness. And we know people tune in for that, but you're 100% right. There's a lot of like me, I can't even watch me and my wife, we can't even watch that kind of stuff no more just because it's disgusting to continue to see ourselves in that kind of light. And so I could tell you we'll be first in line to sign up and enjoy some positive messaging because it's definitely needed, and there's a lot of us out here who want that and who would thrive off of that.
Yeah.
And so I agree. And then you said something about waiting for a yes. And I just did a post on social media in the last week or so where I said we're all, one yes away from
Mhm.
whatever our next thing is. And I said expect the no's. You're gonna continually hear the no, but just know that yes is coming, and it's right around the corner. Just don't stop before you get to that yes. And
Yeah.
so I know that yes is coming. Just keep doing what you're doing. You definitely you're accredited messenger. I think, based upon what you do and what you've already done, people will believe in your vision and will support it. And And I'm also personally looking forward to doing some things in connection. For you guys who don't know, well, you wouldn't know because it's a conversation we had. But so we're going into the prisons. I go into the prisons, and we're gonna figure out a way to also incorporate what you're doing, and hopefully to be a beacon in the same light and help some individuals out and provide impact that way. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing that in partnership with you in the near future. Um, I really, really appreciate you coming on the show and making some time. I think you provided a lot of different nuggets of knowledge, and I'm hopeful that your story will inspire the next generation of females and males to know
Mhm.
that it's possible. Like, incarceration doesn't mean that's the end of the world. And for those who are listening who've never been incarcerated, keep it that way. Like we said, you don't have to follow our path. You know, we did that. Hove did that, so you don't have to go through that. You know, so just pick up on some of these jewels and apply them to your life. And then the last thing I want to leave with is, just let the people know how they could get in contact with you, your website, your social media, your handles. I'll be sure to put it in the notes at the bottom, but let them know where they could find you at.
Yeah, I say I'm Googleicious.
Hey,
So go
hey.
Lucinda Cross, just put it in Google, Lucinda Cross, and connect with me there. I'm on Instagram, Lucinda Cross. I'm on TikTok, on Lucinda Cross. Everything's inspiring. Some stuff is a little funny. Some stuff is a little like, you may be like, oh, that's me too. But my website is lucindacross.com. So I would love to connect with
Right.
everyone.
Keep it nice and simple. Well,
Hmm.
I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone tuning in because you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us today.
Thank
I'm hopeful that you enjoyed this episode, and feel free to leave some comments. Let us know how you felt. If you have any questions, feel free to drop some questions in the notes. And until the next time, everyone be safe out there. And remember, all of your goals are possible. They're achievable. It's really up to you if you're willing to put in the work. If you have a vision, like that vision board, and get some mentors in your life that can help guide you. And you do those things. You work hard. You get a strong routine. You too can be a boss. So thank you. Close this out. Good. All righty.